like everyone to hold their questions until the very end. I have often reflected upon the new vistas reading opened to me. I knew right there in prison that reading had changed forever the course of my life. As I see it today, the ability to read awoke in me some long dormant craving to be mentally alive. Malcolm X. Hello, potential volunteers. My name is Luisiana, and I was a volunteer at Inside Books Project. It is an organization that receives written letters from prisoners in the state of Texas, and they request books to be sent, or reading materials, magazines, novels, any kind of reading material that you can think of. And Inside Books Projects has an extensive library of donated books and whatnot, and they are able to best match the prisoner's request for the books, and they send them out. My purpose here is to present a new philosophy on how to spend your time, to make some comparisons about how you spend your time and how maybe you can volunteer here, and to explain some of the advantages of this organization. The mission statement for Inside Books Project is to provide quality reading materials and other resources entirely free of charge to people in Texas prisons, to promote empowerment, communication, and self-expression for these people, and to educate ourselves and the community about the realities of the prison industrial complex, according to their website. Now, you're probably wondering, why would I want to volunteer for some prisoners? Like, they're in prison for a reason, right? They're bad people. Well, in reality, I think every prisoner has the right to quality reading. If you look on your little handout, I wrote out the little what, why, and how. For why, every prisoner has the right to quality reading and educational materials. Prisoners spend a vast amount of time in prison, and they really don't have very much to do for a lot of that time. And so instead of really wasting away and serving their sentence, it's really nice for them to actually be able to read something. Prison bookshelves are about this big, and they really don't have a lot of selection, and they have to share all of that between all the prisoners in the facility. And Texas especially cuts back a lot of educational funding and a lot of reading materials for them. So this is a really cool project that can actually send free books for them, and it's part of their personal property. They can keep it if they want. Basically, think about how you spend your time. I know that we're students, and a lot of us are busy with work, with school, with volunteering, and all this stuff. We're really busy, but in reality, you're really not as busy as you think you are. There is free time in your day for you to be able to volunteer at this place. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American has between 4 to 6 hours of free time. Believe it or not, all that time is usually spent, napping or spending on your phone, binge watching Netflix, all kinds of stuff. I do it too. Trust me. I'm not immune to that, but it's important to know that you do have time to volunteer and to actually make a difference in your community, and especially to know a lot more about prisons and stuff, because I feel like that's something that we really don't know a lot about. People just kind of shut it out of their minds. They kind of put prisoners in this other category, we're people, we're taxpayers and people of society, and they're the other. They're people who have done bad things and they're in prison running away. But some of the comparisons, on the one hand, you can binge watch your shows, you can spend time on your phone, or you can actually get together and make a change. You don't even have to go alone. You can go with people. It's a super easy volunteering. You don't even need to sign up. You show up, you pick out a letter, you read it, and you search the library, and you basically package it all up to mail in. Some of the advantages is that you can help an inmate benefit and improve their literary skills, their self-expression, because it's all handwritten letters. Of course, not allowed. Most prisoners aren't allowed computers, so they have to handwrite the letters, and you handwrite one back saying hey, here are your books, I hope you like them, and everything like that. Honestly, by sending them in books, you can help make their post-incarceration life a lot better. If a prisoner, for example, didn't have the resources or the means to study coding or to get into computers, you can send him books about computers if that's what he requests, and his life post-incarceration will just be that much better, that much easier, if he at least had a little bit of prior knowledge and he was able to read a little bit in prison. And where can this be found? This can be found on 12th Street. It's in Space 12. I'll be honest, it's in a little, it's kind of tucked away. it's tucked away, but it is a really it's a really like well lit area. It's really nice. All the volunteers are super nice. All the volunteers, there's no paid staff. It's all volunteer based. All of the donations are just books that people have donated from their homes, instead of like putting it to half price books and making like what, $3 off of 30 books. You can like actually give some of these books to prisoners in the state of Texas. They're open Thursdays and Sundays from 7 to 11 p.m. and second Mondays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I know it's like a little bit later at night, but you don't have to stay for like the entire time. If you want, you can go in, send in one letter and leave, but it's really, really nice. And they could always use the help because they just have so many books and so many letters sent in. There's something around 160,000 inmates in the state of Texas alone, and they get like 40,000 letters a month, but they're still able to meet their goal just because of the help of volunteers and everything. With your help, my vision of the future that inmates can have personal reading materials, as well as promote rehabilitation over punishment, can be fulfilled. Texas is a state that kind of promotes punishment over rehab, and it should be the other way around. We should encourage education and rehabilitation for these prisoners. And honestly, it's so easy to volunteer. The time flies by. Like, I volunteered and I wrote 4 letters, and I got to send 4 packages, and it was just really rewarding, honestly. So I really want you all to think about, like, how do you spend your time? You know, there's always going to be time to watch that show. There's always going to be time to scroll through Instagram and to like pictures. There's always going to be time to do that. But consider prisoners in prison who have so much time and they have really not very much to do, and instead like they have no outside world connection. You can help with your time that you have for free. You can help actually help them be more educated and actually send in books that they want to read. And honestly, this is a group of people that is very marginalized. Not many people think about prisoners and how they're really doing and how they're being treated, and at least if they have something to read that's part of their own personal property, that would be a lot better for them. My vision for the future is to provide prisoners with books and to promote education and rehabilitation for them. And I would like to ask you to join me in reading letters from prisoners, and finding their books, and making their lives post-incarceration that much better. Thank you for your time, and I open the floor to any questions.